This is a video for the problem that's behind my house, which is a sinkhole forming. I've uploaded another couple of videos. I think 7-8 months ago, it was last year, and I notified, St. Louis City and St. Louis City Streets Department and MSD, Metropolitan Sewer Department for St. Louis, that a sinkhole was forming directly, behind my house. It took a while for them to come out. Well, actually, I let them know earlier last year, but finally they did. St. Louis City did send, somebody out when I had to call them, and I told them a lie that kids were riding their bikes up and down the alley, and if they fell in this hole, that they was gonna get in trouble. Then they finally sent, somebody out. After MSD, did their dye test, and they showed me on the, the camera system in their truck where the lateral was broken, but then they came out and pointed it out to me, directly, in the hole, which was about, I don't know, maybe like 25 feet deep. And then it got extremely, extremely wide as it was going down, because my lateral coming from my house, the sewage and the gutters, the rainwater, which is tied into the sewer system here in St. Louis, it wasn't going into the sewer main that runs beneath the length of the alley. And it's probably, I'm 6'3", and it's probably as tall as and as wide as me. I mean, it's a huge pipe, and the sewage and the water is not going into the pipe, it's going beneath it and washing the earth out below. The pipe is broken, or you could see it, the lateral pipe. It's about right here where the pipe, where you can see that it was broke off. That's how deep the hole was. You can see, I don't know how deep the sewer pipe is. I think it's maybe 15, 20 feet, below, that's bringing the sewer line out of the house. Instead of fixing it, you can see in the other videos, St. Louis City poured, I don't know, I'm just guessing, maybe 5 to 10 tons of huge rock down the hole. They had to back the truck up and shake it, and they put it directly on the broken pipe. And there was, where this concrete here was leaned, where it caved in, it was leaning in, and the St. Louis City worker stomped this huge slab of concrete, and it fell directly on the pipe before they poured the rock in. Well, that was about 8 months ago. They sent me a letter directly after, which I talked to the head of the traffic department. I was talking to him before the guys was doing the work, and explained to him the problem. And he was telling me that it was my fault over the phone, which they hadn't sent their assessment. I'm here with the guys, and the MSD, Metropolitan Sewer Department, hadn't sent them their assessment of the problem, because I'm right there with them. They said they was gonna email it to him. Before they emailed it to him, he told the guys to go ahead and cover up, fill up the hole. Well, all of that rock has started to cave in, and it was like a full dump load full. That had disappeared. So obviously that's how much bigger that the hole has gotten. Yesterday, I heard, loud noise behind the house. I guess about 8, 9 o'clock. I came out, and it was 2 contractors out here, third-party contractors, with a bobcat, a big truck, and a work van, and they said they were gonna fix the lateral. Well, I asked them, I said, what are y'all gonna do about, this hole here after you fix the lateral? And they said that they were gonna patch it. But as you can see, for the years of neglect, all of this is collapsing in. You can see this, you can almost see down through that crack, and they just plan on patching this right here. I said, well, man, what are you gonna do about this incline here that's caving in? With this uncovered, And before they fixed the hole, you could see that there is less, the best I can explain it, there's less earth underneath here because due to their neglect, they allowed it to wash. As it washes down and creates the hole, it's taking this, and this is collapsing. It's collapsing. That's why this initially, this is the part of the slab that they went ahead and stomped down into the hole directly onto the pipe. And I could see the sewage and the water. If I cut the water on in the house, I can come out here and see it going not into, because you could see the huge sewage pipe that takes I don't know, miles to a river or wherever it goes, but it's not connected into it. The stuff was going under there, creating this huge hole. The hole is big enough that you could probably put about, I don't know, 3 or 4 cars in it. That's how bad it is. But they gonna fix this lateral, which I imagine because around the city of St. Louis, there are gigantic sinkholes forming everywhere. So maybe they went back and said, oh, we ain't gonna be able to blame this one on that guy. He pays his taxes, so go out there and hurry up and fix that hole. But it's no hurry up. This whole alleyway is damaged. They've replaced a few blocks over. They had to replace and tear up the entire alley because all of the laterals were broken. Now, when I go down this alley, it's not happenstance that if you could see this here, it's going to the lateral for that house, it's going to that one for that house. It's not connected to the sewer pipe below her. There used to be a house here, there's no longer. And there used to be a house here, there's no longer. You see this line? Right where the sewage coming from the house would connect, you know, to the drain. It's the same thing here for this house and this house. The exact same thing here for this house. And it used to be a house here, it's no longer there. It's not broken here. It's not broken here. But you can see this line here going to that property and that property. This is where the laterals are coming out. The same thing for the last two at the end of the street there. I'm no what do you call those real smart people? Engineer. I'm definitely no engineer, but I do have a doctorate degree in common sense. All of these laterals are broken. The sewage, and St. Louis is unique in that the sewage and the gutters, the rainwater, it all goes into the same, it's tied into the same pipe. So basically, when it rains, the houses are catching the water, shooting it out through the lateral, shooting it out through the sewage line, and it's washing out the earth beneath the beneath the sewer line. When I was cleaning, look at this. That's hollow. You could see down through there, right at this manhole cover. They came and repaired this one, where you can see that the ground is different. I think like about 15 years ago. Look at this line going across. And they sent the lady that lives here, when they came out and tested that, I pointed out to this one, and they marked the defective laterals. But when they sent me a letter that said that it was my fault, they also sent this lady a letter that said that it was her fault. Funny. They sent me a letter after they had ran tests over her, and after they were simply notified of that, they sent this lady the exact same letter. How do you know it's our fault? If it's broken on our property, when the rainwater and the sewage goes into the pipe, it will come back up through our basements because it has nowhere to go. It's not coming back up through my basement. It's not coming back up through her basement because it's leaving the house. It's just not going into the sewage drain that's over 100 years old and leaving the area. It's going beneath the sewage drain and washing out the earth. The alleyway across the street from me is worse than this. About maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, which I wish to God I would have recorded it, they sent out a third party, which that's how they steal money. It used to be street department workers, forestry workers, water department. My father retired from the water department for working there 40 years. He passed 10 years ago. They got rid of the paid workers and they used these third party contracts. Oh, hey buddy, I'll give you this $10 million contract. Make sure you bring $2 million back over to my house at dinner Sunday night. This is cracked because it's not going in. And as the earth disappears underneath the sewer pipe, because it's getting washed out, it's collapsing and it's sucking in. The same way it's sucked in, right here. And there's less earth here. I could see it like going that way. Like the hole is big, but you can see it's coming from up like here, like it's taken away. The contractor yesterday, it was hard to understand him because he could barely speak English, and the other guy spoke no English. It was two of them. He told me that they was gonna patch this hole. I said, well, man, what about the rest of this? Look at this. And when I bring a car out here, I got 2 cars in here that I haven't been able to move in years because of this. And as soon as I pull a car here and I fall down into the earth, what are you gonna say then? All of this is cracked because they won't fix this. They came out here once and worked it over right here and patched it in, but they didn't fix the problem like they did in the alleyway a few blocks over. This whole entire alleyway needs to be tore up, and that sewer line needs to be replaced, and all of the laterals for all of these properties need to be connected to that sewer line. They know it. I imagine it may cost, I'm just guessing, $3 million versus they send this guy out here to patch this hole and to patch that hole to get by and screw the fact that I won't be able to bring my car out because there is less earth under the entirety of that slope because you won't fix this. It went through an entire winter of snow, ice, water, and another in March rainy season of all these gutters that collect this water and put it in is coming out here and it's going underneath, washing out the earth. If I walk the alley this way, it's the same thing. Like I say again, I'm no engineer, but I got an engineer's degree in common sense. There was a house here. Look how it's broken where the lateral is, to the house there. The same here. These cracks are just not accidentally in the exact same spot. The guy who lives here, he told me that he noticed that this incline right here is constantly getting lower. It said the rise was a lot higher 5-10 years ago, and it progressively gets lower. Why is that? Because the earth is washing out beneath this, just like what happened downtown St. Louis before the whole street collapsed in. If that water and sewage does not get into a pipe and get taken away, it's going to continue to wash out the earth beneath it. The same way here, that's a vacant house, but the same way there. I can go all the way up this alley and it's the same story. Some places, like this area, there used to be a house. It's torn down to where there still is a house. It's the same. I walk all this alley and it's the same. Oh, these cracks just happen to be forming every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. What do you know? 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. What do you know? It's crack. Well, it's not a house there anymore. 2, 3. It's the same. Going up and down this alley. In some places, it's not that bad. Like, you don't see one again until you get up there at that where you see all that green. But then 15 feet or so, there's another. 15 feet or so, there's another. That's because the earth is disappearing, the ground is cracking, and maybe they waiting for, one of these huge dump trucks that come get these dumpsters. When they sit them down, I can literally feel my house shake. That's because the ground is hollow and they're not fixing it. They patching it up. They too busy putting money in their own pocket than doing the right thing, with the tax money. I ain't stupid. When I was a kid, all these alleys used to stay clean. I used to trim these trees at these power lines. This stuff, it never, and the sad part is that I live in a poor neighborhood. I guess that's the best way I can put it, which is within St. Louis City. But within St. Louis City, if I go over on the south side to where it's not poor and it's white people that live there that's got money, all of their alleyways are clean. You see none of these ladders. The street department guys, when they was out here last year, they actually told me that there is a certain, like a line, a certain point as you go from the St. Louis City west side to the south side, where you basically get to where the people are with money, and the majority of white people, that their protocol for what they do when there's something wrong with the streets or the alleys or the dumpsters is completely different than what they do here. We get treated differently in this neighborhood. And it's like that across the United States of America. You see all this trash and all this stuff that the city don't come out and pick up on the dates that they supposed to pick up. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I was sick 2 years ago for about 6 months, and I wasn't able to come and cut my grass. And the weeds in the back had got, pretty high. St. Louis City sent me a letter and said if I didn't get it cut, they was gonna come out and cut it, and they charged like $2,000-$3,000 when they do it. It was funny. I came out here and looked, which I had to pay somebody $1,000 to clean it up. It was pretty bad. But this is a city-owned house that they, people died and, the family didn't pay the taxes, but St. Louis City owns this. But at the time they sent me that letter, the weeds here was as high as the house. But they wouldn't do what they were supposed to do, what they own. But they sent me a threatening letter that they was gonna charge me to fix this. Same way they do with the if I don't move my car across the street the one day a month that the street sweepers come through, they immediately come out and write tickets. Well, if you're that concerned about the streets being clean, which I admit I should move my car, but sometimes I forget. So I get the ticket and I go pay the ticket. But you don't write yourself a ticket for not coming to clean all this crap out of the alley. You write me a ticket on the front side, and the street sweepers, they don't even get the trash. They get like, I would say maybe 40 to 60% of the crap that, be on the street. The machines don't even really work. But the only reason they got that street department, they haven't cut back on that the way they cut back on forestry, the water department, the trash department. Everywhere they ain't cut back on their street, the street department that run those machines, only because it's a scam to milk us out of money by writing those tickets, which the machines don't even clean the streets. But they don't clean. This is all St. Louis City. They don't keep this clean. People that live like her, he had to cut his grass at the back. They had to cut their grass. This is St. Louis City on this easement. It's crazy. It's unfair, and it's just horrible. But yesterday, with those 2 bootleg contractors out here that they sent, not the street department, but some third-party contractors, probably they could barely. One could speak no English. The other one could barely. But when I broke out that camera, and I started recording, the van was right here, the Bobcat or the backhoe was about right here, and the big dump truck that they was filling up was right here. So I came out here filming. I was standing over here. I got to figure out how to upload that video because I used a new action camera I got, and I got to learn how to take that cord out and put it on the computer and upload it, which I'm not tech savvy at all. I need to learn. Guys, you can't be there. You can't be, no. You can't film that. I said, man, what is you talking about? You can't. Then that camera is what made him, this phone is what made him, that camera. Video on it is what made him full of angst. So he said, because he was swinging the Bobcat, which was digging up this hole and dumping it in the truck right here. The Bobcat was on the other side of it, and the arm of it, was facing this way. From right here was I was at about the cab of the truck. So I wasn't in no. And then he said it was dangerous for me. So I said, okay, I'll concede that. So I came over here filming. Then he directly told me that I could video. I said, man, is you crazy? I'm on my property and it's my right to film. I could easily view you in the public. He said I couldn't do it. So I said, okay. That's when I went in the house because I figured it'd take a while. And I got that action camera. Put this ladder right here on this garage. I walked up here. I came on this garage. Now, the Bobcat, or the backhoe, this is electrical wires. It can't come through these, so he was making sure he stayed on the other side of those. And I said, got you, boss. No worries, I'm perfectly safe. But I ain't going nowhere because you guys are not fixing this correctly. By you patching this hole, right here and the hole out there, you are completely taking into disregard that this is ruined right here. All of this is collapsing and caving in. How are you gonna do that? And then plus, I've seen that hole. If the hole was opened up wide enough, you can get at least 2 to 3 full-size vehicles in there. So you're gonna patch that up. You're not gonna fix it. If any more water gets in there, which it still is from there, and it still is from there, and it's washing that out of here, that's gonna cave in the same. You're not fixing the problem, you patching it up. Like I said, I'm not an engineer, but I got a doctorate degree in basic common sense. All of this needs to be tore up. Rock and dirt needs to be put down in there, needs to be packed down. More rock and dirt needs to be put in there, not just here, but all the way there and underneath that pipe, which I don't understand how they can do that. They need to tear up this whole alley. I bet ain't no engineers been out here, no assessment. They just trying to, it's obvious. Now the alley collapsed a couple of blocks over, so they replaced the entire alley. What are you waiting for? And look at all these dumpsters. Just from what I can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 times that the gigantic city truck comes through here, picks that up. Brr. 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 When that truck comes, I can feel my house do like this. I'm no engineer, but it's doing that because that ground is hollow. under there. And they wait until it collapses like it did downtown. That's why I believe they came out here to try to hurry up and patch this, because they probably be getting some backlash on the neglect that they've been doing. When I talked to the lead man, the boss in the street department, and I told him that they don't need to pour no rock in here, that this hole needs to be, at that time, you can literally see the pipe coming from my house. And if I went in the house and cut the water on, you could see the water coming out and washing in the hole. But they didn't fix their pipe. They poured, I don't know how many tons of rock over it, which eventually went down into the hole. And it was a full dump truck, which I got the video on her. They took what was left and put it in that lady, where the ground is collapsing over there. They put it in there, but as you can see, they didn't even fill it up. It was a little higher than that, and it didn't sink down. I used to see cats. There's a lot of alley cats around here. They'll go in this hole, and they'll come out over there, or they'll go in that hole over there, and they'll come out here because it's all hollow under there. And since the majority of this area, you see the houses, need work, we don't have a lot of money, over here. We're doing the best we can. But in an area like this, but people are still paying their taxes, or else the city will take your house if you don't pay your taxes. They treat us differently than the same St. Louis City on the south side, where the people are with that's got money. All of us are St. Louis City residents. All of us pay taxes, but it is definitely not the same treatment. So they're gonna patch this up, but when they do, I'm gonna be right here recording their neglectful ways like I did before. And you're not gonna fix this, which is less. I can see from the opposite side, there is less earth underneath that slab. But I don't even need, if I didn't see it, if it was completely covered up, see that gigantic crack? It's hollow. You can see it. You see how all of that is cracking up over there? It's because there's less earth under there, and it's giving way. But you're not gonna fix that. You're gonna patch this in. They was gonna fix the lateral, but when I got this camera out, that guy, he got out of that Bobcat. He went and got in that truck, got his cell phone. He called, I guess it was his boss, and he immediately covered up this hole, covered up that hole, and packed up and left when he saw that I was not going to stop filming. What's wrong with you doing what you're supposed to be doing? What's wrong with me filming it? What is wrong with me filming? That's because you don't. I'm gonna have to eventually, it's unfortunate, sue the city of St. Louis when this collapses and maybe this entire garage falls in this hole. So that's why I'm filming it and documenting, because you guys are not fixing this right, and you're liable. They actually sent me a letter that told me that this was my fault when MSD dropped a dye pack in there, and they showed me on their computer what they was gonna send to that same guy that, I don't know if I mentioned it, he actually hung up on me, the boss of the St. Louis City Street Department. He hung up on me. I told him that this wasn't right, and you wouldn't be doing me like this if I lived in a certain area of South St. Louis. He got mad and he hung up. So, but they not planning on fixing this correctly. They plan on patching that hole the same way. But what is crazy is that all them tons of rock is what the guy was lifting out, putting in that Bobcat. So it costing you more because you got to remove all that rock, that what you can, because most of it had to have gone, down into the earth. But why not fix that pipe? It was open up that you could fix the pipe and then, put dirt or rock in there, or put dirt and rock in there, and then, fix the pipe where it rolled and connect it back, to the sewer. But then these cracks wouldn't have been here. It would have been fixed last year. But because you didn't, and you poured that rock in there, patching it up, now all this crack, because it's getting, the problem is getting worse. It's the same on this side, right here. You can see clearly where they fixed it, before, where that line is going over to that one, but they told her it was her fault. They fixed this and patched it in. But these cracks are opening up more. I don't know if I showed with the camera, but they hollow as well. Again, I'm not an engineer, But I got a doctorate in basic common sense, and I'm not stupid. I left my ladder up here because I'm going back up there when they film, because I'm going to film you incorrectly bootlegging the job instead of doing the right thing and fixing it correctly. I don't know how good this shows on camera, but this is hollow. I could see like darkness all the way down through there. And you know why? There's no earth under there. The same way here. You see how hollow that is? Could see down through there. I bet if I got a straw or a stick, I can stick it straight down through there and it disappear, because it ain't no dirt and ain't no earth under there. Same thing here. It's collapsing in. That's why this is raising up and getting hollow. This whole thing right here done shifted because the earth is falling into a hole. But they not fixing it correctly. But it's unfortunate that they had to go into a courtroom for myself or my kid falling into this or coming out, because I got to try to get a couple of cars that's in here. I got to get them out of there. But I can't even use my garage. I pay my taxes, so what's the point? It's covered under the lateral program that St. Louis said if it breaks so many feet, I think it's 6 to 8 feet from the end of where it's supposed to be connected, and that pipe goes, it stretches about 6 or so plus feet across from the center. So if I go over from the center of the alley, I'm at the center of the alley. If I go over 1, 2, 3 feet, this is the edge of the alley. That pipe is broken another foot into there. So 4 feet from the center of that. It's not, this is an easement. This was my property. They wouldn't be able to put this electric pipe on here. It's called an easement. If this was private property, they couldn't put these dumpsters on. They put the dumpsters on the easement because St. Louis City owns the easement. This dumpster is on the easement, the edge of the property. The dumpster's on the easement. Those dumpsters are on an easement. The dumpsters was on this side of the alley, they would be past the alley, the edge of the alley. They'd be right here, directly over, where that pipe is. It's on the easement. It's not my responsibility, St. Louis City. It's yours. And I would appreciate if you would come out here and treat me like you treat other St. Louis City residents with money. And fix this problem, because we both pay our taxes the same.